Mrs. H here, and today I'm going to talk about how to access the missing log. Missing log is going to be one of the tools we will be using a lot to stay organized and on track. So let's go ahead and get started. So I go to my Google Classroom, Minions 2020-21. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go to classwork. Now under classwork, I'm going to take a look over here. Remember, under topics is just a quick way to get to anything that has to do with that topic specifically. What I mean by that is if I want to click on missing log, well, I'm only going to see anything that has to do with missing log. And in this case, this is just the first semester, so I'm only going to have one thing so far posted in there. Now, because it's an attachment that I've put in there, all you would do is just go ahead and click on the attachment that I have done. Now, you can only view because it says view only. So you're only able to view. And if you take a look, I add the tabs down here for each week. Let's go ahead. And what's great about Google too, they give you tutorials as you go to. So for back to school week, when we come back, then it's the day of the Monday, so 8/6/20, that would be the day of the Monday. Then if I look at week one would say 8/10/20 because that's the Monday of that week. And then I'd add the next week, which would say week 2, and then I'd put the date for that Monday. So it's always the date of the Monday that you see down here. And as these keep growing, you'll see some arrows over here to help you keep growing with it too. So we're going to go ahead and go back to the first week. And if you notice, I did some color coordinating here. So I don't put students' names, I do put students' numbers, so that way everyone's viewing the same thing and they're seeing it updated. So if you know your number is 1, because Miss H has assigned you numbers, then you're only going to be worrying about this right here where it says number 1. Now notice how I clicked over here on the 4 because I highlighted everything that goes with that student number 1. Up here is where our Mrs. H will be putting assignments, and those are the assignments that are going to be due for that week. And just the titles of the assignments, I make them very similar to what the titles are for the assignments that you're working on, so you can kind of piece them together. Anything that you're working on, if you get an X, so let's say the assignment is a writing, oops, I can't type in here, I apologize. Let's say that this is a writing assignment here, and then down here, actually, I will go ahead and get in myself. Okay, so let's say it's a writing assignment, and so I went ahead and I put that in there. I'm using my other computer also. So I put a writing assignment right here, and let's say that this student, student number 1, completed it. I put an X to show that that student has completed that task. Now, for any reason, let's say all of these students here, this student has not, this student over here, and then let's say math project, and I come down here and I highlight this green. Okay, so looking at my color coordinating here is, so this student, that's X, so student number 1, completed it. I looked at it, does not mean I graded it, just means that they've completed it, they're on track, they finished it, I put an X there. Now, student number 2 has not completed it yet. It's considered missing. So I go ahead and I put a yellow. Now, once that student turned it in, I take the yellow away and I put the X there. Now, down here, if it's purple, purple is this is a code for Mrs. H only. This is a code that maybe I'm differentiating, maybe I am doing something on the back end of this particular assignment. So it's not a color that any students need to worry about. It's just more of a color coding for Mrs. H to stay on track of the different assignments, and because everyone does have their different learning styles and their different learning processes. So I like to just kind of keep a little code for myself of whatever is going on. The biggest things the students need to look forward to or look at when they're looking at the missing log is, do I have an X or do I have yellow? If I have yellow, that lets me know I need to get that done before the end of that week. And then once, let's say I have X's all the way across in all the assignments, I have no yellows, I'm perfect because I only care about yellows, then what Mrs. H would go ahead and do is I would make their student number teal. And if you're teal, that says, perfect, you're done for the week of your assignments. You have turned them in, I have acknowledged it, it's good. Doesn't mean I've graded it, doesn't mean that the quality is the best, it's just saying that you have finished your task of getting your assignments in like you needed to. If something is green, like for example, here's a math project, and this is green. Well, students are working on assignments still. Due date depends on progress of students. So maybe this project is a 4-week project, and I want them to still know, hey, this is still here, we're still working on this, but it's not due this week. So if it's yellow, that means it's due this week. If it's green, it's just saying, hey, you know what, we're still working on it. Maybe it's a writing project, and depending on how much time we are and how everything's going, maybe I have to push the little due date out a little further. So this is still saying you still want to work on it, you still want to make sure your progress is going well on it, but doesn't mean it means it's not due this week. It's just saying it's still here, don't forget about me. And then the yellow, the orange is a color code that I put there is this is the last thing to work on for missing work. Get all the yellow done first. Sometimes I put Prodigy on here on the games for students to complete, and they see it's a yellow and they're like, oh, I want to get that done. But they have like maybe 5 other yellows, and I want them to get those yellows done first before I want them to do the orange. So the orange is more of, if you have the orange, do it at the last resort after you've done all of your yellows. The yellows are the most important thing. So you want X's, not yellows. If you have yellows, that means that you need to get to work. But this is a missing log. Again, this is very an important tool. We use this definitely in class. So once distance learning is over, we'll be using this a lot in class. And again, tabs are down here. So once this starts filling up, you'll get a little arrow to keep moving the tabs over. So if you want to know for this week what is due, then you want to take a look at the week that we're working on. Or if you were absent, this is a great tool that you can see, okay, what's due this week? You know, I didn't get to see Monday, but now I'm back on track here on Tuesday. What's due? Well, this is a great tool to see along with in your Google Classroom, the Google Calendar, and then the view of the assignments also. And then, of course, the agenda. So we have great tools to use, but that's how you get to your missing log. One thing I do want to suggest, if you're looking at your missing log and you're like, but I completed that, give Miss H some time to get it inputted, because staying on track of numerous of students and inputting it, so sometimes you'll see like, oh, you know, so just be patient with Mrs. H. And another tool too is use this little refresh button up here on the top left corner, because you may be looking at it, I probably already inputted it, but you had the same screen up the whole time, so it didn't kind of populate over onto your end yet. So you need to go ahead and hit refresh here, and then it'll refresh the screen, and then you can see, oh, okay, yes, Miss H went ahead and she did input it. So if you're looking at it and you're like, no, I did that, I did it, it says it on everything, and I even said, oh, you know, I did input it, but you don't see it, just hit this little button up here and give yourself a refresh, like reload the page, and then that way it like populates anything between your computer and my computer to talk with each other. There's your missing log. Utilize this. This is a great tool to stay on track. If you have any questions, let me know.